This is Will's Band of the Week for July 17th, 2016. Hello and welcome to another edition of Will's Band of the Week. This is Will, along with Grant, live in studio.
Hello.
You can tell, I bet the audio quality is just fantastic.
I'm sure.
Yeah, as opposed to when it was beamed up to space and then back down.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty good back then too, though, I think.
That's good.
So, all right, very good. So Grant has graciously joined me for this week's podcast. And I think we'll have Barrett next week, and we're going to try to eventually get back on track with regular podcasts. But we're keeping it coming. We're going to give them their $0 worth, I think, once again.
Of course.
I don't think we've decided whether this is going to be branded as a Grant's Underground, but I think it probably will be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the general essence of this podcast, but, you know, doesn't have to have the title.
I think we probably will give it the title then.
Yeah.
Just have to be very careful with our branding. You know, it's all these decisions we have to make and the meetings we have in boardrooms and, you know, it's so much goes on behind the scenes. All the negotiations, all the, you know, talking to the major labels.
Paying Facebook money to promote us. Yeah.
Right, doing that too. Yep.
Paying our publicist.
Yep.
It's been pretty crazy.
Yep. I have to thank somebody, though.
Mm.
David Zuger. Thank you, David Zuger, for your suggestions. So we asked for some ideas for some bands, and he gave us some. So that's great. So we'll be attempting to listen to some of this music that he suggested. So keep them coming, people. All right, before we get to the music, we have this. Yeah, we've got a live report. It's kind of cool when a live report actually has a little bit of a context, right?
For sure.
So it's kind of like you'd think we were world travelers with these live reports, these recent ones.
Uh-huh.
So, well, I mentioned last week that we went to see Real Estate in San Francisco, and I thought, I'll just reiterate, I thought the venue was really cool. I thought the band sounded a little bit like they were trying to adjust to not having Matt Mondannelly.
Yeah, I agree.
So it'll be interesting to see, you know, kind of what direction they go, because his guitar playing is a big part of the sound of that band. I'm sort of realizing that even more now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely see them leaning a little more folksy, chords oriented. Matt Mondannelly seems to provide the sort of lead guitar work and dream pop sound.
Right. And when you phrase it that way, that gives me concern because I don't know. I don't know if you're going to do better than Matt Mondannelly, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, so then you and I went to see Matt Mondannelly play.
Right.
So I was out with Grant in Vancouver, and we saw DuckTales. That's Matt Mondannelly's band.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, should we talk about the venue? It was at the Cobalt Hotel in Vancouver, which it's unclear to me whether it's still actually a hotel.
I think that might just be part of the name.
It's a hotel building.
Yeah.
But if you look up Cobalt Hotel, they just give you the music venue. So if it's still a hotel, it's such an underground hotel that they don't advertise it as a hotel anymore, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they shouldn't, because it seems like it's not in very good shape, right? And, you know, people describe the venue as a dive bar. We were talking about that a little bit, like, what is a dive bar? And I wasn't sure, but then I went into the bathroom, and then I decided it was a dive bar.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that venue is sort of part of Vancouver underground music history. There's some documentary where the Cobalt's mentioned a lot, and I think it's changed locations before. It used to be like really metal heavy, but this iteration of it is a dive bar, but it's still like a legit music venue for sure.
Yeah, I think it was a good place to watch a band, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so yeah, and DuckTales, it was very interesting to me to put that into context. And I don't know, I guess if you just go by the last couple of albums, I would say that I was a bigger fan of Real Estate. But I think live, I don't know, I might have liked DuckTales a little bit better.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I went to that show not listening to a full DuckTales album before, and I was pleasantly surprised with the whole thing.
Definitely has a similar vibe to Real Estate, where it's kind of laid back, right? And he switches back and forth a bit between guitar and keyboard, and I think his keyboard parts are pretty good.
Yeah,
he does definitely like certain chord progressions, right? Sometimes he'll play a chord, and I would say to myself, that's a classic Matt Montanelli chord progression.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty good. And it's interesting because if he's apparently he quit Real Estate because he wants to focus more on DuckTales. So it'll be pretty interesting to hear what they do next.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I think that was a successful live gig to see. Oh, and there was that band that opened for them. Should we talk about them? The Lavender Flu, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're from Portland.
Yeah, I think so.
And they're kind of a wild and crazy psychedelic rock band. Is that what they are?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And they had a keyboard player who sat down, like he was kneeling in the corner.
Yeah.
And you said that was good and not pretentious, right?
Yep.
So I kind of liked them. I thought they went off a little crazy on the jams sometimes, but there were parts of it that were pretty cool. So then I went back and listened to their album, and I could barely get through it. It's like 30 songs, and it just goes on and on and on.
Uh-huh.
So live, they were better because it was more. They had to narrow
more
it down.
Concise. Yeah,
it was like probably a 45-minute set. So, but that live, at least, I thought they were worth checking out.
Yeah, me too.
All right, there you go. That's a pretty good live report, I think. That was worth possibly greater than 0, I think. So, well, you've got some new music as usual.
I do.
So let's talk about it. What do we got?
First, we have an EP from Montreal band No Joy.
Yeah, they're almost becoming indie rock veterans now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a mere 3 songs, and I don't know. Not sure if there's much else to say other than just play A Thorn in Garland's Side.
No Joy. That's from a 3-song EP called Drool Sucker.
Uh-huh.
And that is probably the third time I've heard that song. We were on a road trip. Yeah, I think you played it a couple times.
Yeah.
And it started to grab me that time.
It's
like,
good.
that's the time that the melody started to sink in. It's like, hey, that's kind of a good song.
Yeah.
So, yep, No Joy from Montreal. Do we play 2 tracks out of 3 or just 1?
I think we should stick with 1 because I also read somewhere that they might be releasing some more EPs this year. So we can give you a sampler of 1 from each if they're all good.
Yeah, a little bit at a time. They're leaking their album 3 songs at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely better than doing just singles, I think.
Yeah.
So, the band podcast favorite, the Ravenettes, they're doing the thing this year where they release a single every month. And then with that strategy, that's sort of cool, I think, because, one is coming every month.
Yeah.
And then it'll be interesting to see if they just make it into an album after, the year is over. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But your brother Reese is a huge fan, and he always knows, like, the moment that there's a new one, he'll tell me. Yeah, so that's cool.
Good.
All right, well, let's keep on rocking.
All right. Who should we talk about next?
Let's see. Well, I have one, but let's talk about one of your other ones first.
All right, let's talk about Blue Smiley.
Yeah, and they, I'm sure that they've been on before. You have mentioned them before, and I remember liking what you played before by them, and now I've listened to this new one a couple times, and it seems pretty good. I'm getting a favorable reaction to it.
Yeah.
Where are they from? Tell me.
I believe they're from Philadelphia.
That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be wrong, and I never say things that are wrong because we have high journalism standards.
Right. This podcast is 100% truth, fact-checked, everything.
We can do some music journalism while we're playing the first track. So the album is called Return. What are we going to play?
Let's play Spin.
Blue Smiley. That's rockin'.
Yeah.
They're, in fact, from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
You had that right.
Cool.
That's my music journalism I just did. And they're on Bandcamp. So this is another great way to use Bandcamp to find Blue Smiley, right?
Yeah. Bandcamp only release right now, I think.
Yeah, I don't think they're on the major services at this point.
Yeah.
They might be in the future. But then they'll make them less cool. So, you You got to enjoy these bands while they're just on Bandcamp, and then you can tell your friends that you're cooler than they are. Right?
Yeah, that's vital.
That's what I recommend. Okay, let's play another Blue Smiley track.
All right, let's play Dark.
Blue Smiley.
Yeah. I realized my headphones were partially plugged in, so I was hearing everything in mono.
Oh.
Which is why I thought the audio was messed up. But
do you have them properly plugged in now?
Now it is correct, and the music sounds significantly better.
Yeah. You made a face when referring to the audio, and I looked and it seemed like everything was okay, and I'm getting full stereo. So
I am now as well.
Okay, so that's a lesson that the listeners can learn. That is, always plug your headphones in all the way.
Right.
Yep. Okay, let's play another Blue Smiley song.
All right, let's play the last song on the album, Coma.
Blue Smiley.
Interesting use of percussion on that track, I think.
Yeah. Interesting overall sound, too. So I'm going to say you heard it here first. And you didn't just hear it here first on this podcast, but you heard it like a year ago at least. Right?
Yeah. We should get cred.
We totally should.
Extremely famous.
We totally should. Can we buy stock in Blue Smiley right now? Just invest $10 in Blue Smiley, and then we'll become like Donald Trump rich, right?
I think so.
I had to throw in a Donald Trump reference. All right, that's enough of that. We've got more music. Do you want to do yours, or do you want to do mine first?
Let's do yours first.
I've got one that you graciously allowed me to put into the Grants Underground. So we're going to talk about the new Julie Ruin album. That's Kathleen Hanna's band, and Kathleen Hanna's can you call a woman an aging rocker, or is that like not cool, right? That's like a gender thing, right?
Well, I think you should feel obligated to, otherwise it's a double standard.
Right, I think you're right.
She's an aging rocker, for sure.
So, and she's a cool aging rocker. So, anyway, she was part of what they called the Riot Girl. Was that a movement or just a genre or whatever it was?
Probably both in some way, yeah. And she's considered cool. And I'm on board with her being cool.
There's a documentary that I can't remember the title of about her, and it's pretty cool. So find it and watch it. And so I'm pretty sure this is the second album by her now current band, the Julie Ruin. And I will play a track, and we'll talk about it a little bit. Let's go with track 2, which is called I Decide. That's a Julie Ruin. I guess we could call her an indie rock veteran too, right?
Yeah, I think that title works.
Kind of like that term. So I think that a good portion of this album is really good, and another portion of it is kind of, it seems like the songwriting is just a little too simple, like super simple chord progressions. It's almost kind of bubblegummy. But on those tracks, her vocals are still pretty good. I think that's really the strength of the band. But the earlier part of the album definitely grabbed me more than the later part, so I'm going to play a little bit more of that. So let's listen to Be Nice.
Across the sky, skipping
That's the Julie Ruin.
Yeah, I like the vocals on that track a lot. Seems like there's like a pleasant amount of clipping on them, and it makes them sort of sit in the mix, maybe more like an instrument and less like a pristine capturing of the human voice or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's cool.
I'll mention a couple things. First of all, Barrett's one sentence review was he liked reading about it more than he liked listening to it. So Barrett's not on board with this one, but I'm going to give it just a general thumbs up. I can't really endorse the whole album, but there's enough interesting stuff on it that is definitely worthy. Another interesting note is that the last track is a piano ballad. So, Craig, if you're listening, you should check that out. It's the classic last song piano ballad. So, I'm not going to play that one, but I'm going to play one more track. This is called Rather Not. So that one gets into a little bit of the, sort of sounds like an 80s new wave song or something.
Yeah.
A little twee kind of. And so I think that's where the album goes in like a little different direction, and sometimes maybe a little bit too far in that direction, but that one was reasonably catchy, I thought. So there you go. That's a sampling. The Julie Ruin, the new album is called Hit Reset. So Grant, you've got one more.
I do. The band Vats from Seattle. They're sort of a post-punk band. Let's play Melting Culture to start.
It's alright, I bought it new.
That's Vats. Yeah, that's definitely a good one.
Uh-huh.
It's got a cool post-punk sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The album is called Green Glass Room, and the record label says Green Glass Room is the debut full-length from Vats, which takes its cues from the best of post-punk as well as the 80s German band Malaria, resulting in sharp austerity and authority with a beat. Never heard of that band.
Yeah, neither have I.
Malaria. So it's interesting that they would mention like a single band like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to check them out. So, yeah, that's good. Now the challenge now is to come up with 2 more tracks that are that good.
Well, lucky for you, I've already done that.
All right, what's next?
Next up is track 5, Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, you're 2 for 2, definitely.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yep. You know, maybe it's just too easy, but I think you can throw out a Joy Division comparison there, too.
Sure.
I think that, you know, if you liked those Joy Division albums or if you like them presently, this is something that would be logical for you to also like.
Yeah.
Right?
I think, this album's cool musically, and I sort of got into it lyrically as well, which is relatively uncommon for me. But they're kind of, the lyrics are pretty ambiguous, but seems like they have a good mix of like seriousness and but they're also just kind of fun. So worth listening to and paying attention to if that's your thing, I think.
That's great. I might have to pay attention to the lyrics the next time I listen to this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Third pick from Vats.
Let's play Drag.
Drive her down to the world.
That's Vats.
Yeah.
All right. Total success, because I'm leaving this recording, and I am definitely going to listen more to both Blue Smiley and Vats.
Great.
So that's fun. So maybe somebody else out there will do the same thing, right?
I hope so.
They shouldn't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. That's why you're here. That's why you listen to this podcast.
Uh-huh.
To discover fun new things. So, all right, that's great. More than $0 worth, I'm going to say.
I'll agree. Yeah.
So, we got anything else? I think there was a death of the week, but it's somebody that you and I aren't familiar with enough. So I think we are going to see if Barrett can give us a lengthy, music journalism report on him.
Good idea.
Right? Let's do that. So just so nobody's thinking, oh, they totally blew it by missing the death of the week. No, I don't think so. I don't think we did.
Yeah.
So, all right, great. We'll be talking to you again pretty soon, Grant, I'm sure, because we're going to keep at least trying to do the monthly ones, right?
Yep.
The Grants Undergrounds. You said you've got even more lining
There's,
up already.
Upcoming releases that I think are going to be good, so prepare yourselves, listeners.
Maybe you and I were talking about a couple of things that are going to be coming out where we think we're not sure it's going to be any good. So, you know what would be cool? Too. I think it would be cool if there was something coming out and we were really pessimistic about it, and then it surprised us and it was really good.
Yeah.
So it's got to happen every once in a while, right?
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, good or bad, but mostly good, we will report to you in the future. So I think that's it. We will talk to you again next week with another edition of Will's Band of the Week. Good night.
Good night.
You can subscribe to the Will's Band of the Week podcast using iTunes or any other podcast app. All of our podcasts are also available directly on our webpage, willsband.net. You can contact us directly by email to willsband@yahoo.com, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter @willsband. The Will's Band of the Week podcast is brought to you every week from Fourth Bedroom Studios in Madison, Wisconsin. Our theme music was composed by Grant and performed by Grant and Will. Thanks for listening.